How's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. Okay. Just as usual, if we can get a couple confirmations um, in the chat that audio and visuals are good, let me know. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Audio and video all good. Thank you, Rion. I appreciate that. Sweet. I have to say I was kind of starting to get into a zone and working on something. All of a sudden I looked up and it was like, oh shoot, I have 3 minutes. So I guess really quick, I'll show you what I was kind of working on for right now. I was kind of getting in the zone of finishing up this Foundation Stacks website. Here, let me go ahead and I'll share, or I'm just gonna dive right in. So I was actually I was working on the demos for these for the animation stuff, and so yeah, I just created a couple little like hover style animations of things that you can do with swatches, right? So here's a cool little hover button. Here's the animating the underscore. Here's kind of a funky blob that when you hover over it, it kind of just morphs, right? Pretty cool stuff. And then these cards, kind of like these hover cards, which are really nice, right? Kind of just a subtle floating hover effect. Really cool stuff. And yeah, all that's possible with all the swatches you have now. There's nothing special here that I have that you don't. So you can do all of this stuff with what you have now on your machines, which is pretty cool. We're not going to dive into how to do all of that. Yeah, because that's not the purpose of today's video. But just wanted to kind of show you what I was kind of working on today, wrapping this up. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to close all this out here. And let's just pop back here. So, kind of what got me into today's topic is embed codes, right? And not just embeds, but like various code snippets that we have, like Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager, and how do we manage all those embeds? Like, on Weaverspace, I have like the little help widget on the bottom, and I have the little pop-up like, Chris Powers bought, all of my stacks 20 minutes ago. Those little pop-ups that happen on the bottom. And so there's a few of these embed codes of services that we use that we embed on our site. And sometimes those have to go in a particular location, such as, like a YouTube embed code. I'm not really going to talk about those in particular today. Maybe a little bit, but I'm more talking about the codes where it's like you need to integrate some widget on your site, or integrate Google Analytics, or Facebook tag, Facebook pixels, right? Or LinkedIn pixels, or whatever they call their version of a pixel, right? Their tracking software. So like, where do we put all this stuff, right? And, a long time ago, I did a video, a live stream on Google Tag Manager. And Google Tag Manager is really cool because essentially, I can put the Google Tag Manager, embed code on my site, and then, put all of my various widgets inside of Google Tag Manager, and then Google takes care of it all, right? It puts all those embed codes in there for us, right? And yeah, that's pretty cool. But it came to realization yesterday. I was playing around with some Safari, privacy things. And, Safari nowadays is tracking, a lot of trackers. And even in the next update of iOS, like, it's going to start blocking a whole bunch of stuff too, right? So I thought this was pretty interesting. I thought it would be an interesting topic to talk about. And today, I on purpose didn't change anything on Weaverspace. And so I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and hopefully live, I'm going to change how I should do it now. And hopefully it will all just kind of work out. We'll see. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and let me share my screen really quick. Okay, and let's go to Weaver Space. Okay, so here is Safari. Hopefully you're seeing this. Yes, you are. Okay. Oh, I just noticed my screen isn't going. Darn it. Hold on 1 second. Let me fix something really quick. I want to make sure you guys are going to get everything I intend you to. All right. There we go. Now you can see my whole desktop. Okay, cool. So this is Safari, right? Obviously. And if you notice in the latest version of Safari, I think it's Safari 14, it has this little tracker thing, right? And you'll notice that it noticed that I have two trackers. I have Google Tag Manager and PayPal. And obviously right now, Safari just alerts us that those things are on the page. Okay. However, another thing that I've done recently is I've actually switched my default search engine. I don't know about you, but I've noticed that whenever I searched things on Google, like the first entire page is like almost all ads, right? And actually I use Eero, EERO for my home router system, and it actually blocks a lot of like ads automatically. And Google Ad Services is one of the things that it blocks. And because it blocks those, like the Google search results were kind of like useless to me. Like it was annoying because I had to either go to page 2 or go like scroll all the way down to page 1, and like the last couple maybe were something valid, right? So I switched to DuckDuckGo. I've done this a couple times in the past, and I always ended up going back to Google. But I have to say that I think DuckDuckGo has improved, right? They actually show images now. They have some maps. They have local stuff, right? So anyway, I switched to DuckDuckGo as my local search engine in Safari. I actually did it on my iPhone too. And the search results are pretty decent, right? So if we just go to let's search for RapidWeaver, right? So DuckDuckGo searches for RapidWeaver, and there we go, right? Pretty nice. I like it as a dark look. You can change the theme, obviously, but it's nice. And if you search for, I don't know, Joe Workman, okay, there I am. Finds my ugly mug, okay, and a few other Joe Workmans around the world. Obviously, my personal website's right there, so that's pretty cool. So anyway, okay, not going to really dive into DuckDuckGo, but I just kind of wanted to talk about what kind of got me down this road. Then, so on top of that, I noticed that DuckDuckGo has a little browser extension. So I was like, oh, let me install that. And it by default blocks a lot of things, right? And one of the things it blocks is Google Tag Manager. Okay. Now you might think, well, Joe, like uninstall that. Okay. But DuckDuckGo is a free one, right? And I do like it so far. It's only been a couple days. But this is a trend, right? A trend that I want to address because it's not just DuckDuckGo's browser extension. There's tons of other ones. I installed one. If you use SetApp, I installed one from SetApp called AdGuard. I actually uninstalled it because it was causing like issues with various websites and stuff like that. So I uninstalled that one, but it blocked a ton of stuff too, including Google Tag Manager and a bunch of other stuff, right? Now, why is this bad? So let me go ahead and I'm going to turn this off. Okay. And I think there it goes. Okay. So if you notice, oops, I got to change that. Clicking up here always goes to the homepage. It drives me nuts. I gotta fix that. Okay. If you notice, I turned off DuckDuckGo, and all of a sudden I get my little help widget down here with little pop-ups, and then also eventually these come up now. Those weren't there before because of DuckDuckGo. And they weren't there because Google Tag Manager is managing all that stuff for me. So that's a big problem for me now, because yeah, that, like, just because someone is blocking, installs a free, DuckDuckGo is free. They installed a free ad, tracker blocker. Okay. And look, because I, because I turned on, turn that on, basically it now found 3 trackers. It has Google Tag Manager. It's putting that on the page.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Siri thought I was talking to her. I'm not. Okay. So anyway, so now my score went from a B plus to a D, right? Mostly because of Google Tag Manager. And it wouldn't have blocked it. It didn't block this. It didn't block my little pop-up thing, right? And this help widget is vital to my site. I mean, it allows you to search my, search my knowledge base. It allows you to see deals of the week. Whoops. And yeah, I mean, so this isn't cool. Because of these ad blockers, I'm losing you guys are losing functionality on my site, and I don't like that. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to stop using Google Tag Manager. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways we can now manage these embed codes. Where do we put them? Maybe if you're using Total CMS, some ideas on how we can leverage Total CMS for this. Okay. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in. So, like I said, I didn't prepare anything for this on purpose. There it goes. All right, I'm going to open up my project file for Weaver Space, and I'm also going to head over to Google Tag Manager. What was it? Tagmanager.google.com. Okay, so inside Google Tag Manager, we can go to my tags, and we can see I have a bunch of tags in here. Some of them are turned off, some of them are turned on, right? So like I used to have the Facebook pixel on there. I don't anymore. Google Analytics. You know what? And another thing I should say, I don't know, for right now, I think I'm going to experiment not using Google Analytics for a little while. As you know, I've talked about it before. I'm a huge fan of Cloudflare. And here, let's just head over to Cloudflare. I can type. There we go. Let me log in really quick. Oops. Okay, it needs my. There we go. All right, I need to go to Cloudflare. Please unrecognized. Oh, Jesus. Hold on one second. One second. Let me just get this all logged in and whatnot, and then we'll be back. Log in. Okay, here we go. All right, now we're back. So now I'm logged into Cloudflare, and yeah, so they started doing some analytics as well, right? And I mean, most of the time, to be honest, like I don't really dive into the Google Analytics code very often, right? Now, if you're trying to monitor, Google events and, track whether how many times a person clicked that button, then maybe, Google Analytics is important to you. Right now, I don't really track much of that stuff personally. And, it is nice to know how many visitors I kind of get an idea of that. So that is a nice thing, right? I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do about that. But right now, for today, I'm going to say that I'm going to try to not use Google Analytics. Okay. And actually, we go to this Analytics tab. they have some decent charts. You can see kind of, where people are around the world, where your visitors are coming from. Um, it's good. Does it give you, it doesn't give you most visited web pages. Oh man, I'll be honest. See, I didn't even look at that stuff yet today. Interesting. I thought it would give you like most visited web pages and stuff. It just gives you generic, very generic stuff. Interesting. Maybe I will be keeping Google Analytics for right now. I don't know. Darn. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and get back to this. So I need analytics code. I'll keep it for now, I guess. I guess we're going to keep it. Okay. I'm going to need evidence.io is the service I have for my little pop-up widget. We're going to have Google Analytics. Help shelf is that little help widget. And then I have something called Swarmify, which is a little helper service for to speed up YouTube embeds. Okay. So essentially for right now, I'm going to go ahead and add all of those back in to RapidWeaver. Okay. So before it was kind of nice. If we go into my RapidWeaver project, I could just go into code in your RapidWeaver project. Okay. So it's in this on the sidebar down in the code. Okay, and if we go to, actually I had it in the head. Okay. Or you can also add some stuff into body. Okay. So in head, I'm going to delete that. Boom. And we're gonna start adding stuff to the body. Okay. Now, depending on your theme, right? These various things can go different places. In Foundation 6, and most themes, stuff that you put in this tab will go at the top of the page. Okay. Things that are added in the body will go at the very bottom of the page. Why is this important? Okay. This is important because if you're loading scripts or whatnot in the head of the thing, of your web pages, the problem with doing that is that it can delay the loading of your content. So for example, if I load some of these embed scripts in my head, and these embed scripts maybe are loading a bunch of other resources and stuff like that, that could potentially slow down my page load time. Now, things like Google Analytics, they're going to instruct you most of the time. I think it's going to instruct you to put that in the head. However, I normally personally add it to the bottom of my pages. I add all embed codes actually to the body. Okay, oops. I want to add it to the body. And the reason for that is that I want all this stuff to go on the very bottom of my page. I want it to load after my web page content. And again, that is because I want my content to be the priority. And then if once all my content's loaded and then the browser's working on loading this other stuff like little widgets and stuff like that, let it do that. Okay. But the priority to me is to get you the content, my users, as fast as possible. Okay. So let's just go ahead. Let's go into here. Let's look into these. I think all of the embed codes in here. So this is my script. I'm just going to copy and paste it from here instead of going into each individual service website. Okay. So now I got my evidence.io is in there. Okay, let's close that. And we'll go into this. Probably, I'm gonna have to go into analytics and do that differently. Help shelf. We'll go into help shelf. Here's my help shelf code. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna paste that. Right. Okay. Close that. Go to Swarmify. Copy that. Gonna paste that. Okay, so you see I'm just copying and pasting. And last but not least, let's head over to analytics, and then we'll get the embed code for that stuff. I always forget where all this stuff is too, to be honest with you. La 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 la. No, that's all. Let's see. I want beaver space there. Where do you get the embed code? They always change it. I never spend much time in here. Enough time in here to. Let's see. Analytics. Oh, where is it? Anyone in the chat help me out here if you know exactly where to go. Goals. Admin at the bottom. Thank you very much. Look at that. There we go. This is the screen I was looking for. Tracking info. Tracking code. I don't know, man. I'm still not 100% sure if I really need this anymore. I'm gonna add it just because. Why not? Okay. So we're gonna copy that. I don't want to use Tag Manager because we just learned that that is bad. Okay. So there we go. There's my Google Analytics code. I'm gonna now load that last. Part of me really doesn't want to have it. But part of me thinks, I don't know, maybe I still need it. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, but look, this loads Tag Manager anyway, which is going to be blocked. But some people aren't loading it, so I don't know. You know what? I'm going to say, to hell with it. I'm not going to load it. Okay. So there we go. That is my site. For right now, what I'm going to do is, I don't want to republish my entire site right now, but I'll republish this homepage. Let me just preview it, make sure that everything's working really quick. You don't want to publish without previewing your page. Okay, never. Now, some of the stuff I know, like Deal of the Week, isn't going to show. Some of these other things don't actually display inside preview. That's okay. Okay, let's go ahead. And I'm going to go ahead and publish this page. Save. So now all of those widgets that were added are now added to the bottom of my page. Okay. And I added those to the body tab. Okay. And what that's going to do is that's going to add it to every single web page. Okay. So this is exporting. It's exporting lots of stuff. If you're wondering, I'm just exporting this locally. And then I'm going to go into here. I've done a video on how my deploy process is. It's extremely different than probably anything you've ever worked on. If you haven't seen how I do my publish, I do it through version control and whatnot. It allows me, like, for example, this shows me everything that's ever modified on my page, right? And I kind of know, like, I know I've updated a lot of stacks, so a lot of these are going to be updates. Just to speed things up, I'm going to hand pick things that I know don't need to be deployed right now. Okay, so I know I don't need that. No, we don't need. I'm just going to move those to trash. Okay. And we're going to keep all of these. All right, stage. All right, boom. Okay, and now I'm going to push this up to my server. Okay, so that's going to actually take a couple minutes probably, because it pushes it up, and then I have like a job that schedules and whatnot. Okay, so while that's going, just to recap, in the code body, add in all your codes in here. Okay, now if you're using Total CMS, what can we do with Total CMS? Okay. Let me just talk theoretically here, because my project here, while it's not using the version of Total CMS you have, so things are very, very different for me. So I'm just going to talk theoretically here, okay? So obviously in Total CMS, you can have a text area, okay? And essentially all these codes that I put into the RapidWeaver project, right? You can save those in just a generic RapidWeaver Total CMS area, okay? Then I guess one thing I should note, oops. Yeah, okay. Okay. For this particular area here, you actually cannot put in macros, okay? You cannot have a macro in here. And the reason for that is this is kind of managed by RapidWeaver, not by stacks. And so all this code gets injected after Total CMS is processing the rest of the page for macros. Okay, so in most places inside RapidWeaver, you can use macros. This is the one location that you actually cannot. You can use it in the head. You can use it in the prefix. You can use it in JavaScript, CSS, meta tags. You can use it anywhere. This is the one location you cannot use Total CMS macros. Okay. So how are we going to get these macros into our pages? Okay, or this embed code. Okay. So what you would need to do is let's just look at a project here. This is my demo project. You would essentially just on the very bottom of the page. Let's find a page that actually has some content in it. Here's one, okay? This is actually a Total CMS page. So essentially at the very bottom of your page, okay, what you're gonna do is you're gonna add an HTML stack. Now I'm gonna use the HTML, the Foundation 6 HTML stack, but the normal default HTML stack will work as well if you're not using Foundation 6, okay? And then inside here, you can put in your macro, right? So you could be like percent CMS data, I don't know, let's do like tag manager. Why not? We'll even call it tag manager, right? So there we go. Zoom in right there. So that's the syntax you'll use, CMS data, tag manager, assuming your CMS ID of the CMS text area that contains all of that, okay, is tag manager, okay? So at that point, what you do is you'd probably want to then partial this out so that you add it to every page. And then whenever you submit new embed codes or new, scripts into that area in the admin space, it'll automatically get injected to the page. And again, you probably want it at the very bottom. The last thing on every page is where I would put it. And that will then, Total CMS will then inject the embed codes that you add. And it'll be pretty much in the same location that RapidWeaver would put it if you put it in the body, okay? Minuscule difference. It's effectively the same as if you put it here versus, let me go back to where it was, at the bottom of the page here. Okay, now it's kind of cool. Let's say you wanted some embed codes to be on some pages, but not all the pages, essentially. You could have multiple of these, right? So let's say on your admin pages, maybe you don't want to have certain tags. Like maybe you don't want Google Analytics, or you don't want that, like for example, my little help widget. I don't necessarily need that on my admin page, or whatever else. You can easily just create multiple, right? So you can just say, tag manager, admin, or something like that, right? So down here, you just create multiple CMS IDs, and then those just manage two different sets of embed codes. And then that way, either, some pages you would add the admin, and some pages you wouldn't, right? So you would have to manage which pages, that gets added to, okay? But it's not too bad, right? Let's just turn on Do Not Disturb. Thank you very much. So yeah, there we go. That's how I would manage those things with Total CMS. Really simple. And another thing, I guess, just to cover all the bases. Let's see if we have a. I'll just add one to the page. If we go to a Total CMS, we would do admin text. So this would be text, and we would add that to our admin pages. Okay. And so again, this is what you would add on the admin side. So we have a text area, and the only thing you would need to make sure you change is you don't want to use the HipWig editor. You want to use text markdown. You do not need markdown formatting. And there you go. Then you can set your form height to be whatever you want. You definitely do not want strip HTML on save, because we're putting HTML in there. We're putting this embed code in there, right? So yeah, that's the settings that you would want. You just put in a admin text area, set it to text markdown, turn off markdown. It'll still work if you have markdown turned on or off, but you don't need it. Okay, so turn off markdown and set your form height to be whatever you want, and you're done. That's it. Then you can just paste in the embed code straight in there, save it to Total CMS, and the macros will inject it directly on the page for you. Okay, hopefully that helped out. Okay, let's get back to my homepage. It should be there now. Let's see. Oh, let's turn. Still found Google Tag Manager. Hold on, let's go ahead and close that. I'm gonna go back to Weaver Space. Aha. So only found one tracker now is PayPal. I have to have PayPal on my site because I accept PayPal in my shopping cart, right? So that's required. I have to have that. Okay. So I can go ahead and if I turn this back on, 0 trackers are blocked. I still have a C. I went from a B+ to a C+. Interesting. I wonder why that is. And actually, when I set privacy, if I turn this off, it gives me a B. Oh, it goes from a B to a C+. 2 trackers found. Oh, Cloudflare, Ajax. Interesting. And if I block it, 0 trackers blocked. So, okay, interesting. And if I go to this, trackers on the web page, it just found PayPal. So interesting. DuckDuckGo sees Cloudflare as a tracker, but Apple doesn't. Apple only sees PayPal. That's interesting. So there we go. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. Unprotected sites. Wonder if I wish it can give you a little bit more detail on that grade and how you can improve it. That would be interesting. But if you notice, Google Tag Manager is now no longer on my page, on this homepage. And so now the benefits are, right? I'm no longer using Google Tag Manager. So if you or anyone else has some sort of ad blocker installed, which more and more people are, okay, it doesn't stop my cool widgets that I use on my website from actually getting added to the page. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. That was really all I had for today. I just wanted to kind of go over my experience with this, and something I thought was a revelation yesterday. I was just like, oh man, I didn't realize I installed this ad blocker. It's blocking stuff, and I'm actually removing functionality from my website because of it. So all the benefits that I had of Google Tag Manager before are gone now, right? I mean, I don't recommend using it, anymore, because Google Tag Manager has some cool features, but if ad blockers are going to be blocking it, then it makes no sense for me to have it and use it on any of my websites, because it's removing functionality that I intend to be there for you as the visitor of my website. So, let's see what else we got. Cool. I don't really see any other questions. If you have anything, we're going to call it a short one today. Yeah, it ended up being a really quick one. Some weeks I think, it's going to be short and I go for an hour and a half, and some weeks I think it'll be okay, and then it goes really, really short. I don't really have anything else to say. about this. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found a little bit of use. And I'm glad that Danny said it was very timely. Um, I guess one thing I should say is there are other tracker or other analytics tools out there as well, other than Google Analytics. So if you are looking for something different, I used one called Matomo for many years. Okay, Motom. Oops. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. 1 second. Uh, Matomo. I think it was Matomo, right? Or is it Matomo? Matomo. Um, I used this for probably 5 or 6 years. Essentially, it's your own version of Google Analytics that you can install on your own server, and everything runs from your local domain, right? So, it is nice. Um, the reason I moved off of it was just I didn't feel like maintaining it any longer. And some other services that I use like integrate with Google Analytics, and I liked that. Um, so yeah, that's actually true. Probably one reason I'll probably add Google Analytics back is because of the integration. But if the numbers are completely wrong, does it really help out? Like if everyone's blocking Google Analytics because it's Google Analytics, then your numbers are going to be off. But on the flip side, um, like yes, your numbers are going to be off. You can't, but the trends are still the same, right? So you can still see trends even though the numbers are off, right? Um, so it just gives you kind of a test in the air to see whether or not how things are going on your site. But you can also get that with Cloudflare, and Cloudflare obviously doesn't collect any user data, and because all your traffic for your site runs through them anyway. So yeah, yeah, it really sucks. I wish there was a better way, better recommendations I had for you in terms of analytics. Am I gonna continue to use analytics? I don't know. Right now, I'm still on the fence. I removed it for right now. I don't know, but maybe I'll add it back later on because I really want it. And like my sales reporting tool that allows me to look at product sales, then I kind of compare that to website visits and stuff like that. Man, I do like that, but the analytics, the website analytics data, as I just said, are kind of off anyway. But the trends are still there. It's a tough one. I don't have the correct answer. So you're gonna have to come up with that answer yourself. But hopefully today it helped you out on stop using Google Tag Manager. I think that is good, especially if you have mission critical embeds that you want on your website. Add them to the body on your RapReaver projects. And if you're using Total CMS, there's a really simple way to manage all of that with Total CMS as well, so your clients can easily add and remove stuff if you want them to do that, right? So anyway, hope that helps out. What is the function of Facebook IP? Oh, so the Facebook Pixel, what that did, again, I haven't used that for quite some time, but you need to have the Facebook Pixel on your web page if you want to do like Facebook ads. So if you're going to be doing Facebook ads or Instagram ads and stuff like that, you have to have that pixel on your web page. And the whole purpose of that is because Facebook wants to track the user from facebook.com onto your website, right? And so that's the reason why I was using that. We were doing Facebook ads for a little while. Didn't really work out for us, but we removed that pixel from our website. And that's that. Same thing if you were doing Google ads, you would need to have the Google ads code in there. If you're doing LinkedIn ads, you would need LinkedIn's ad manager code on there as well. So that's the reason for all those particular embed codes. But again, the only purpose of those embed codes is to track your users. That's the only way. The only reason you would have them on there is because you want to track them. And if you want to track them, it's because you want to maybe serve ads to them, and that's valid, right? If you are wanting to serve ads for your products to customers, having a Facebook pixel on your website is 100% valid. For myself, I found that the ads just weren't working for me at that time. So I don't want to track you if I don't necessarily have a need to. So that's why I removed it from Weaver Space. So hopefully that answers your question. And the rest of you, thank you very much for coming on. we will see you on Friday at the Hangouts. Again, every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. Again, time zone changes. We've changed the time zone in the US already. I know I think Europe changes and UK changes in like 2 weeks, I think, at the end of March. But we in the US have already changed. So it is now 12:11 for me right now. So we're a little bit earlier than you guys for a couple weeks. So just be aware of that for the live streams for the next couple weeks. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you at the Hangout this Friday. And if not, we'll see you next week on the live stream and on the community. Take care, everyone. Bye.